Hey, this is Stacia, and we are going to take a look at my round 3 game from the 2021 Ohio Congress. Okay, so I was playing up a section, and my first 2 games I had black both times. Both times had a Queen's Gambit accepted, and both times scored 0 points. So, not a great start to my tournament. But I mean, I think the second game I actually played fairly well, except for one move, which wasn't a blunder, but in hindsight, I would call it a blunder because it lost me the game. But let's have a look at this one. I faced Ken Pearson sitting on his rating floor of 1800, but it looked to me like he's been over 2000 in the past. And I do feel he played this game quite well, but I'll let you be the judge of that. So finally, with the white pieces, I got to triumphantly play the move 1e4, and my opponent answered with knight to c6, and I was like, great, what is this? So I know it's the Nimzowitsch defense, but I don't really have a line against it. And so I was a little bit at a loss of how I wanted to play it. I think the main move, I usually say, if you can take the center, take the center. So d4 is probably a good move. And I see now that it's actually only second most common, which is kind of surprising. You can also play knight c3, which seems weird. I don't think I would do that. And you can play bishop b5. Wow. I guess trying to get a Roy Lopez, maybe that's what that's about. I don't know. I guess they play knight f6 here. And then you go d3. Okay, whatever. I would not play like that. But I did decide to go knight f3 because this allows for, the transposition into my normal opening repertoire, and I would get an Italian game, which I would feel way more comfortable with. But against knight c6, he actually did not play e5. He played the move d6. Okay. So this reminds me of a Perk defense. I like to call it Perk. I know it's actually Pearts, but I'm a coffee drinker. Okay, so here I was kind of, wondering what he would do, but I was half expecting, g6, knight f6, moves like that. And so I did play the move d4 now, taking the center, and he played knight f6. And here I went bishop d3. Now bishop d3 is okay. I mean, it's a move that you could play. But my coach, my national master Michael Jolson, he criticized me heavily for bishop d3. And this is why I think it's good to analyze your games with a coach. He said, "Are you crazy? What are you doing? You're playing it like a queen pawn, but bishop d3 is a queen pawn move, and you should be playing this like a king pawn opening." He said knight c3 is the way to go, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I like knight c3." Like, I teach my kids the 10 golden moves of chess. Put your knights out, put your bishops here, etc. Like, if you can do that and black doesn't stop you, that is an excellent setup. So why wouldn't I do that? So I didn't want to block my c-pawn yet in the game, but on the other hand, maybe the bishop could go to c4. So, I mean, the problem with this move is obviously we have to defend our pawn. So you have to do, this first if you want to play bishop c4. So anyway, I know I tend to focus on the opening, but there you go. So if I could play this again, I would play knight c3. Oh, and by the way, this position can sometimes lead to a queen sacrifice line. Like if black were to go bishop b4, you can actually go d5, and after this move, we can take the knight. Now, in the Marshall defense, which comes from a queen pawn opening, which is basically d5 and knight f6 against c4, d4. In that line, the pawn is actually committed to d5 already, I do believe. Where is it? I'm not sure, actually, now that I think about it. But I'm pretty sure that because this pawn is here, so the point is check, and it's not like the king has a lot of good options here. Like if they try to block, you know, they're going to lose the queen, right? Like takes here and then takes. And if they block with a pawn, that doesn't work either. We actually take the pawn. Now we're threatening discoveries, you know, so we can play check and take the rook, or we can play check and take the queen. So if I had to guess, I would say best play here is, let's see, after takes, I mean, would they just take? Probably. Oh, maybe not. Rook c3. Oh, I know. Take the knight. Let's take the knight. And this is, I've seen this line many times when I played d4, and there was not this move. So I think the pawn in the lines I know was already on d5. That was my conclusion, because I would be up material at the end of this line. But here, we actually wouldn't be. Now, I think this is a mistake, because there is knight d7 here. And now we're not going to win that queen. This knight is gone. So I think we have to play this one, c7 check. And, you know, if they go here, we're going to take the queen. So probably they should just block. Yeah. And then you take, and actually white has a slight edge in this position. And I'll check with the engine to make sure. Yeah, it's a pretty decent edge. So black will play here, and then we continue. F3, guard our pawn, move on. Okay, I know that was a big sideline, but it was very interesting, right? And it's one that I want to remember. So bishop d3, I wouldn't play again, but g6, h3. My coach criticizes this move too, but I'll probably always play it because, well, I got this from I Am John Bartholomew, who often would play this move when the light square bishop didn't have good squares. So, you know, we're taking, you know, a lot of squares away because of this. So a lot of squares are taken from that bishop. So we're playing against the bishop. And yeah, the computer likes this move quite a bit. So, okay, bishop g7, bishop e3. And I thought, I don't know this opening, you know, I guess it's a perk defense at this point. The computer calls it Nimzowitsch Williams variation is what it's called. I guess if after decline they play d6, it's the Williams variation. Or probably transposes, but okay. So I figured I'm going to develop my pieces, put them on good squares. I'm going to castle and go from there. And castles, I was very hesitant to play castles here because I would prefer to stay flexible, I think, you know. So I actually like queen d2 better. Why did I not play this? It's a good question. I think I did not play it. Wow, I honestly do not know why I didn't play it. It wasn't because of knight b4. This move never scares me. I would just go bishop e2. Yeah, I don't know what I saw during the game, but I decided to castle. All right. And he played e5, which I did expect. I mean, usually if they're going to go knight d7, then that means they want to go e5 and sometimes c5, but with the knight in the way. I knew it was e5 because they want to attack this pawn, and once this pawn is removed, then these squares become available for the knight. And I've seen this enough times to know when it's going to happen, so it happened. And here I decided to play what I thought was a creative move, knight e2. So after playing some very aggressive chess in round 1, I was in the mood for something a little more calm and maneuvering, and I played knight e2, but I don't think I like this move in hindsight. Probably, well, you know, I don't think d5 is correct here. I calculated knight e7, and then I thought here, you know, black's gonna play for f5, and I'm not sure I like this for me because of the way the pawn structure is pointing. I need to play in the queen side, but that's not going to be so easy. I got to move this knight, play c4, c5, and black's going to play f5 immediately, so I think I shouldn't play this way. Computer agrees, so that's good. All right, so in the game, I played this move, and my intention was to recapture with this knight. And then I thought the knight is not in front of c3 anymore. I can play c3 or c4, whatever my heart desires. He did take, and I did do this. And the computer says, you know, it's okay. White has an edge, you know. So let's see what I should have done. Computer says I should go bishop g5 or bishop e2. Bishop e2, adding a defender. And what else? Not sure. So that's kind of interesting. It also stops this tempo move. Not that I care about it. Yeah, I don't think I care about that. This move I thought about. Now I thought black could simply go f6 here. And I thought maybe he does want to go f6. But the computer says no, he doesn't. Bishop e3 and white's position just improved. Okay. And then it says h6 for black. What? Why would black play that? Okay, but maybe f5. So I'm kind of committing him to this f5 thing, I guess. And h6 I don't understand. Why would you do that? I don't think this is a good idea. But the engine likes it. Okay. So bishop g5, provoking a weakness, is an option as well. I went with this move, kind of a passive looking move. And he played knight to e5. Okay. So this is starting to get a little bit iffy, I would say, because he's threatening knight check, and if I recapture with the queen, which is desirable, then I'm going to be kind of shocked when he grabs my knight, and that's a piece. Takes. So there's no discoveries or anything, and that's just a piece. So this kind of is a threat. Now I could take back with a knight, but then I'm giving up my b pawn. So wow, knight d to e5 is a pretty good move, I would say. I thought about taking this way, but that just feels wrong. I guess I could do that. But I settled on the move c6, which you can see the engine doesn't like. So I thought, hey, my knight's attacked, I'll defend it. The problem with this move is that it allows him to take my bishop if he wants. So I'm giving up my light square bishop, and I just put pawns on dark squares. So yeah, he took it. So computer doesn't like it. So it does want me to go knight takes c6. So that's the kind of move that you don't really want to play, but it's best here because I'm short on options. And then if he goes here, I can take back, and then he'll take with a pawn, I guess. And now I would go c3. Yeah, and the computer agrees. I can also go rook ab1 if I want to. Both are fine. All right, so yeah, and I like this position better. He has double pawns at least, and, well, I'm not losing my bishop here. Instead of that, I went c3, so I don't like this move. He took, I figured, how bad could this be? Which is my famous last words. Because when he played knight e5, I realized that this is still awkward for me. It's a tempo on the queen. Of course, I saw that. And I thought, well, no problem, you know? Like, when he hits me with tempo, no big deal, right? Like, I can go queen c2, I can go queen e2. If he takes, I take with a knight. This pawn is stopping this silliness, so all is well with the world. And I slapped down queen c2 with very little thought, and as you can see, this is a blunder. So if you want to find the winning move for black, go ahead and do so now. So I'm pretty upset with myself for queen c2 because I overlooked a very simple tempo move. And this hits the knight. And when he first slapped this down, which he did with a lot of confidence and a lot of fervor, I was like, whatever. Like, you just weakened your pawn. Like, that's not a good move. And then I started looking further. Oh, wait, that's a good move. Because my knight is doing something. It's guarding this knight. So in the event of knight takes f3 check, I recapture with the knight. In the event I don't have this, I'm taking with my g-pawn, and this is what happened. And I searched the stars, aka the board, for the best way out of this, and there is none. Knight e2 is the best I could come up with because I'm saying, yeah, I'm going to get this structure, and I need my knight to get over here and defend. So this happened. So yes, I'm much worse now. Computer says -2. Don't forget he grabs the pawn. That's also a tempo on my rook. I thought about sacking the exchange. But I thought that might be crazy because I don't even have the bishop here. Computer agrees. So rook fd1. And now he played g5. Yeah, g5. I thought that was a weird move during the game. I definitely was expecting queen h4, because why not? You know, it's a pretty decent move. I mean, that's coming in, and then this bishop can retreat somewhere. Like here even. And then that would be, well, is that checkmate? Because the knight would block. I don't know, but definitely there's play for black. After queen h4, he went g5, which I think was a little sophisticated. My best guess is that he was trying to control the f4 square, and he didn't want me playing f4, stopping this move. If I had to guess, and I played queen d2, which I thought was a rather brilliant move, because I calculated a line, but the line isn't the best. So I'll show you what I calculated. It kind of happens, I think. I thought, you know, I'm attacking this. So, you know, he's going to have to defend it. But if he defends it, I'm also attacking this. So I thought, what did I think he would do here? Gosh, I can't remember. But In the game, he played queen to f6, which I thought, you know, oh, this is his idea, you know, my undefended pawn, he's going to take it. And then he's going to play checkmate, so I didn't want that to happen. So I can't really do this, I don't think. Plus, there might be queen g6, right? Like, pinning. I thought there might be queen g6. Computer says this is fine because I go knight g3, and this is protected. And now it's unpinned. And if this move, I go f4. Huh, okay. Yeah, and when I take, I'm still protecting. So I took this way, he took on f3. Now he's threatening mate. So queen g3 was my idea. I'm attacking the pawn, and I'm attacking the bishop, and I'm attacking this, and I'm protecting this, and okay. He takes the knight, I take the bishop, that was my idea. And then he played g4, and I went queen to g3. So he lost a little bit of his advantage at this point, which is kind of what I was hoping for. I do want to see what the computer would suggest instead of queen d2, because that was the line I saw, and that was the best I could come up with. I was very scared of this move, and this move, and queen h4. So computer says knight g3. I thought about knight g3. But I thought maybe this. And it says king h2. Okay, and what about this move? It says f4 now. Huh. Yeah, we like closed down the position. We closed it down. So it says f5, I guess trying desperately to, I don't know. Yeah, if they have to retreat, that's no good, right? So if they retreat, we go rook d5. Computer loves white all of a sudden and says white's winning. I guess I don't understand chess at all. Oh, and I definitely was thinking about taking this pawn, of course. But in all the lines, it didn't seem worth it. Yeah, like here, I thought about taking the pawn, but, you know, what about queen f6 or bishop e5? I don't think I should play with fire. I need my bishop, you know, defending this diagonal. So, okay. Computer also likes king h2 right away. I guess the idea is we are going to, well, we're attacking the bishop, and if queen here, then we take. Wow. And if check, we don't care because f4. What about check earlier, though? Let's say queen d2. Well, there is nothing. I take the pawn. Wow. And if this, then there's that move f4 right away, stopping this. Well, this is fascinating. Okay, what about this, though? That's scary. Computer says, no problem, knight g3. We don't care about discoveries. Yeah, I guess there are no discoveries, really. I mean, what's he going to do? Go here? He does that. I just go king g1. I don't know. You can see why I was nervous. I mean, it doesn't look, it's not the most pleasant position, but I guess that was the best defense, is to play f4 and close things down. So, and that g5 move of his, it must be a mistake because it created a target. The queen is tied down. It can't go to d2 or h4 anymore. Okay, but the way the game went was like this. And Okay, b3. I think b3 made some sense though, because I really was going to take the pawn now and attack the rook. So, and what else was going on here? Yeah, I definitely was planning rook d2, if I recall. I wanted to play rook d2. And if queen f3, I was going to trade queens, and my feeling was that, you know, his pawns would be wrecked. And then I could march my king up like this and take that pawn. The downside to that plan is that with a pawn on f3, e4 is very tender and weak and on an open file. So I guess, you know, black would stay up a pawn. He is up a pawn, right? Yeah, he is. Okay. So he went b3, protecting his pawn. Rook d2, tempo move on the queen. And here I did trade. Wow, it says it's drawn now. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I wonder where, oh, I know where I went wrong. But we'll see if you guys know where I went wrong. So I had a chance to draw this game. So I must have played fairly well to make a comeback like this. Don't forget, these games are slow time control. You have plenty of time to think about your moves. Okay, so bishop f6. Yeah, he thought a long time before bishop f6. And the idea behind it is pretty sinister. If you want to pause your video and try to figure it out, go ahead and do so now. So I thought, well, I didn't know why he played bishop f6. I had no clue. But in hindsight, I think there's two reasons. Number one is that he wants to bring a rook over, and he wants to trade all the rooks. And his idea was that if we trade everything, then we will have dark square bishops. Okay? And then his idea was that he will go h6 and bishop g5. And he will trade my dark square bishop, which would have no way to avoid the trade. And when he does that, the king and pawn ending will be winning because of the outside pass pawn on h7, soon to be on h6. Now that's how you should assess endings. I did not do that during the game, so that's a really good lesson for me. And that's why playing these slow time control games is healthy, because I don't think I mean, I just thought, oh, with bishops on the board, I should be pretty good. I didn't see that he had a way to force the trade. I didn't even look for it. So I definitely learned my lesson. The other thing, when I played here, because I thought, hey, I'll create back rank threats, and I have some counterplay here. I mean, I'm threatening like king h2, rook g1 check, like fun stuff like that. I don't think any of it like works, but it's counterplay. Okay, so I went here attacking the pawn, and this move did surprise me. This rook d8 move. I want to see what the computer says about it. Wow, yeah, it's the top move. It's the top move. It also likes rook takes e4, which I'm not surprised about. Now, I was expecting rook takes e4. I thought I would play rook takes f3 here. Now I'm on the bishop. And then I thought he would play something like maybe rook h4, attacking my bishop. And then I could go rook takes h6, and I'm defending my bishop, and I win. That was one variation. Another thing I thought was he could just, you know, move his bishop, or maybe check me. I think this is the one I calculated. And I thought I can't go to I can't do king h2 because that would be check and win the bishop. So I'd have to go king f1. But I thought this would be okay because, oh, you know what? I think I wanted to do this, is what I wanted to do. And after here, I thought I could hold this position. And indeed, the computer says black's got an edge, but okay. So that's what I intended. And when he played this move, I was a little surprised. Because I was like, wow, why does he want to trade the rooks? Well, that should be a clue that it's not good for me. So here's a question, though. How do we not trade the rooks? It's a good question. I think if I didn't want to trade, I mean, I can't do this because it hangs the rook, but I could play something like king h2, I think. And, he could check me or take one set of rooks. Checking me doesn't seem impressive. I'm not sure what that does. I would just move here, and then this is the plan, you know, like that. So I think he should trade a set of rooks. The more we trade, the more winning he is. So now I'm on his pawn. The computer gives rook e6, which I didn't consider during the game, X-rang, because now check would win my bishop. That's mean. That's just mean. I would probably go king h3 there, though, to avoid the discovery. All right, so taking is more natural. I guess I could go. Can I take the pawn? No, I can't. Again, this is a threat, winning the bishop, so I guess I should go here. Let's attack it this way. And then he could go rook e6 now. And, well, I could take this, right? What's wrong with that? And everything's on light squares, so I should be okay. Any discovery should not work. Or do they? I mean, if this... I have mate. So, yeah. Bishops on h6 are fun. All right, so anyway, I don't want to bore you guys too much, but I like analyzing, obviously. So, yeah, this is the reason I lost the game, though. So I'm very, you know, interested in this part. So I cannot trade the rooks. Computer says this is, I mean, it went from like drawish to -2. So I'm going to call that a blunder. That is a blunder. That is a blunder because he can take. Now I pretty much have to take. I don't know what else I'm going to do with my life. Okay, and I went into this willingly, and I said, okay, his pawns are kind of like messed up, and I'm going to come win this one. And, you know, I think I'm drawing. I think I'm drawing. But my opponent was quite savvy about this. He played bishop h4, attacking the pawn, which I saw, and I was like, hey, who cares? Bishop e3. And then he played f6. And I was like, what's going on here? So I proceeded with my plan, and he played bishop g5. And then I realized, at this moment, I realized what was going on. I was like, wow, he's not just doubling my pawns. He is going to have this outside pass pawn in a king and pawn ending. So I took because... what else? I guess I could go here. Maybe that's... nope, that's worse. Computer hates it. Okay. But, yeah, this way is also very bad. -5. Okay, -5. And I calculated this, and I was like, you know, we're even pawns. I have a more active king, but I'm losing because of this h5 pawn. And I feel embarrassed because that's like a very like simple thing to learn, is that outside passed pawns are strong. My problem is that I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see the bishop trade coming. I didn't see the rook trades coming. So I need to be more aware of what endgames we are going to trade into and whether I want to do that or not, because then I can more successfully avoid it. So there's nothing really to show here. I tried to mix it up the best I could, but this is just winning. There's nothing I can do, right? So I always say never resign, but I think here I can resign. There's nothing left to do. So yeah, kind of a painful game for me. But let's see what we can learn. Just going through the highlights. Bishop d3, I will not play next time. I will play knight to c3 and play it like a king pawn opening. Okay. h3 I still like. All right, next time I want to play passive, I'm going to think again, because this did not pay off. It just feels like he did play very precisely in this part of the game. And I will tell you that he spent a lot of time on these few moves. And he found, you know, the top moves. They're perfect. So I'm going to be, I mean, I thought my opponent doesn't know what to do or something. Like, I was walking around the tournament room all relaxed. And he was sitting here calculating how to win. So shame on me, right? c3, bad move. But I shouldn't be in this position anyway. Yeah, I have to take and avoid the trade. Although I am wondering, oh, he can't do this because then I take here. So he would have to take the knight. And, okay, this is fine. I can live with this. You know, this is okay. But anyway, I better be aware of what's going on next time. Then I give up the bishop pair. Yeah, this is just a pretty shoddy game by me. Shoddy. I said shoddy. Yeah, queen c2 is really the main blunder, though. So that is part of the reason that I've been actively working on training to look at what happens on every single check and capture and tempo move, is because of situations like this. So, okay, let's say it's my turn, and I'm like, what happens if knight takes check? What happens if knight takes queen? What happens if c5? That's a tempo move. What happens if, you know, knight takes followed by bishop takes something? You know, you should look at this stuff, even if it's silly, so that you get a full grasp of what's happening in the position. I should look at bishop takes h3. Every single capture, I should always be aware what's happening. Because, you know, if you look at bishop takes h3, you become aware that the g-pawn recaptures, and this knight is -1 defender that he had previously. So all that stuff is, you know, useful. And I think here, you know, had I stopped for a second and said, hey, c5 attacks this knight, and I was going to recapture this knight this way, I think I could have found maybe the right move, which is queen e2. Now I'm defending this. So you can play c5 if you want. You can. Now I don't think it's good. Maybe I just retreat. Do you really want to take? I don't think this is so good. Yeah, and I guess it is fine for black, but I like white because, well, white has the two bishops, but I have a weakness to work with here. Okay, anyway, let's continue. So that was a losing move, and then there's one more losing move, as you know. I think this part I did okay. It wasn't the best, but it was pretty good. And yeah, like this. I was trying to keep it like complex, so I might have winning chances or drawing chances. Yeah, and I like this whole plan, this calculated thing. But this rook ad8 thing. So I was oblivious to the trading down into the king and pawn ending. but my opponent wasn't, and he won the game. So there you go. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow actually with round 4. Thanks for watching.